All right, so welcome back to part two of this six-part series, and we're talking about how to rock. Now we has up
How
here
to
how to
rock.
rock 2018, but maybe let's just keep it like to rock your life, shall we? I mean, we're using these resolutions, but why should we be waiting till every January to do this? Why don't we just apply these whenever we feel like we need to tune it up a little bit and represent ourselves as to what it is we want to experience?
Love it. So this
Awesome.
morning I said, oh, do you want to record the A in Legacy?
And then I said, oh, you just want to skip right to A? You got something special for A?
And then I realized that Legacy, Legacy.
So, yeah. And then at first, how did you how did you feel?
Funny.
You felt funny.
I
Very
mean,
good.
embarrassed. I was a little embarrassed.
Okay, well, now, and the only reason
Legacy
why I brought that up is to introduce the E. Why, like, if you thought about, let's say if you wrote down, if one of your resolutions were you wanted to, one of your goals, part of the legacy you wanted to leave was you wanted lots of money. Do you want money? Is that really what you want? Do you think most people who want money want just
No, I know the answer though, so I'm cheating.
Yes.
You're asking me the questions. I already know the answers.
Well, I'm asking you so you could pay attention. So
I'm
why
paying attention to you?
No, I meant our friends paying attention. Now, if I ask you a question, maybe they could engage and go like, oh yeah, what would I say?
Oh,
that kind of thing.
Gotcha, Roger that.
So what would you say? And you would say, oh no, it's not just the money. Well, first people go, yeah, I want the money. And then we go, so well, why? And they go, oh, because that money I could buy a car, I could provide college, or I could buy a home. And then I say, oh, well, why do you want that? And then why do you want that? Why do you want that? Why do you want that? And then as you unpack everything, you get to E.
Not the money you want, it's what the money will bring you.
That's right.
Emotions.
What emotions?
I get an A.
That's right. You got an
A
E for excellent.
Anyway.
So if you think about it, even when you put together this legacy, what if you started with, how did you want people to feel with you, about you? What kind of stories do you want them to be telling about you? Do you want them to be telling a story about how miserable they were around you and oh, the poor, oh, wow, they just had such hard times, whatever, or how amazing they felt around you? What kind of legacy would leave that kind of story is one of the first things that E could be. So think about it. If you were to start looking at what it is you wanted to experience, how do you want people to remember you? What emotions? Remember, because they don't remember what you do. They remember how you made them feel. So do you want to add to that?
Oh yeah, sure. This really changed my life, this emotion thing, because for a long time in my life I shut off from my emotions. I was a suck it up buttercup, do whatever it takes, never let them see you sweat, put your big girl pants on, and how I felt was kind of irrelevant. I just was having to power through and get things done. And now, Danielle Laporte is somebody who's really amazing. She does this desire map, which is this really cool thing, and I highly recommend it for those of you that are into like diving into your emotions a little bit more. But the desire map is a thing where you kind of build your life around the core 5 feelings that you want to experience, or the core 5 emotions that you really want to have. And for me, I do this every year at the beginning of the year. Before I even set a goal or set an intention, I say, okay, well, what's this really year about? Some of you have done the one word. They even made these cute little bracelets with the one word that they want to focus on for the year. And that could be it. What emotion, what's your master emotion that you're committed to feeling in the new year? And so for me, it's different every year. Last year it was like cozy, and rich was one of the things, actually, believe it or not. I wanted to feel abundant, and Doug is going to give you lots of tools for how to feel abundant, whether your bank account agrees with you or not, right? So it's not that you need things to change in order to feel the way you want to feel. It's that you first decide and commit to how you want to feel, and then you orchestrate your life around that, right? So what are your main feelings that you want to feel? Is it cozy? Is it abundant? Is it free? Is it empowered? Is it equipped? Is it, what is it for you? And I'll share with you my words. If you want to know, let me know in the comments, and I'll tell you what my words are for the new year, and I want to hear your words for the new year.
Yeah.
But I just think that's a really great way to start off, is like, what feeling am I going for? And in our last training that we did together, the balls training, which was iconic, which is a word that I'm committed to feeling this year, The balls training was about, you had said that in the training. You said, it's going in with the intention of how do you want to feel when you're in that space, and what are you committed to feeling? And you can't go into the new year without a compass, an emotional compass. A lot of you have been a slave to your emotions, a slave to your feelings, getting whipped around with the wind. Any way the emotion blows, you get carried away. But if you're committed to an emotion, then you can manage your state around it. And that's all of what my husband does, is teaches you how to manage your state. And I think we're going to get there.
We will. Well, it all is this, but this is that, if you think about it.
State management.
So oftentimes we think that, oh, if then, like if such and such happens, then I'll feel a certain way.
So let's say that I'm committed to feeling abundant as one of my main, can you teach us then,
Sure.
How do I go there? How do I do what, I made the commitment. How do I manage my state?
So the first is decision, then understanding. So what is that abundance going to look like, sound like, and so forth. So the behavioral trinity, or as Tony calls it, the triad, Tony Robbins, right? State or emotion, right? So in order to do that, this icon is pretty simple. So only 3 parts that we have to really worry about. And the first thing is, in this abundance thing, it's hard to put necessarily abundance in our body, but the challenge is that if you're, let's say you're sitting there going, we got to put a chair up. Not feeling very
I feel constricted when I look at you. Yeah. I feel shut off. I feel constricted. I feel limited.
I don't know why I don't have any money. It's horrible. I don't know why things just, I'm just so unlucky. I never get, everybody else gets the opportunities except me. Oh, right. So what am I doing with my body here? My body is clearly not one that is open and receptive to all the abundance, right? So the first
just the
thing,
air that's abundant to you, like the physiology, could we just talk about breathing?
Breathing. Yeah.
There's air
free.
That's abundant.
It's everywhere.
But we constrict our breath when we're anxious and we live in anxiety instead of abundance, because
Shallow
that's really
breathing.
What it's anxiety here. Then we're breathing heavy, constricting.
We're not breathing
air,
at all.
Not breathing at all.
And then that's why.
So
why do you sigh?
Huge.
Why do people sigh? Because your brain is going, McFly, need little oxygens. You're like, whew, right, to get it back. Right. Yawning, same thing.
You're welcome.
So then,
I just
yeah, how many of you just yawned?
You're welcome.
Oh, that's right, Moana. Right, so the physiology, notice how you're carrying your body, and notice how you're breathing. Notice, are you standing up straight, or are you, just moving slowly, right? Because abundance is a combination of not only receiving, but opening up to be able to receive. And you can't do that if you're closed off. You can't do that if you're shut down. So you have to start putting yourself in that state. Now, we're going to show you why this is so important to do this. Then, focus. Right? So what are the images that you're holding in your mind? Are you holding images of destitution, of bills? Are you creating pictures? Are you replaying movies of, all of your empty bank account or that kind of thing? Or are you creating images? Are you focusing on, as Heidi shared, the air is abundance everywhere. There's opportunity everywhere. Are you focusing on and looking for opportunities? Are you celebrating other people's opportunities?
Can I just hear with focus too? Because it's hard to operate when we operate by sight instead of faith, because if I look around, I can have evidence that I am not having what I want to have. And so I know for me, when I want to feel abundant and I want to focus on something different, I go to places where I feel it is naturally abundant, because God gives evidence all day long that he wants to provide, that abundance is all around us. God is a loving God. He's a benevolent God. And it doesn't like, well, the flowers deserve it, but you don't, or the trees deserve it, but you don't. So where do I feel abundant? Is in nature. If I go out into nature, I see there's a million different kind of species. There's 15 different types of trees, and the bark's different here than it is here. And there's so much to go around. There's enough water. There's enough grass. There's enough of everything. Flowers. Beach is a good place for some of you to come to Recovery Reboot. We can go on the beach and do an abundance exercise, right? You'll be here. How cool is that? Where do you feel most abundant? Where do you see evidence of a loving God that wants to provide for you the same way he rains down on everything else?
Right. If you struggle with God or Mother Nature, universe, yeah, just think like
higher, just think
nature.
God, nature, you know, if you're not on the Jesus train, okay, or a Christian or whatever you are, the Tao, T-A-O, is all about how God is in nature. And I highly recommend it. I've read it several times. It's a very short book. It's like 83 chapters. It's very tiny.
83 chapters.
No, 83.
Sayings, quotes, yeah.
Is it 83? I hope.
Sure.
It's been a minute, but yeah. You
So,
read it in an afternoon, but it'll change your life for the rest of your life.
Well, and what Heidi shared is sometimes, yes, like
the
when
Tao Te Ching.
You're looking, when I'm saying focus as well, it's the images in your mind, not just what you're looking at realistically. I mean, that's exactly it. It is the faith. It is be able to create an image and focus on the experiences that are abundant, as opposed, because you'll find as many opportunities to find abundance as you are going to find in your life a lack of abundance.
Oh, it's so true.
So start conditioning yourself to start looking but here's the question, and check this out. How do we direct our focus? With our language, with the words we use. So what have you conditioned yourself linguistically to say about your relationship with money, with health, with relationships, with God, with anything? Notice how you describe it. What is the language you use? And the
Money's tight.
Right. Yeah. Are you conditioning yourself? It doesn't grow up on trees. Easy for them. There's only 3 ways you could get it, steal it, inherit it, or marry it. Like all those kind of things that people have about their relationship with money or with health. They're born with natural high metabolism. I'm big boned. Like what are the questions and the statements that you make, right? Because your questions, your language is going to direct your focus. So if you want to have better answers in life, ask better questions. Why am I so broke? Well, you got plenty of evidences, I'm sure, plenty of references. Well, like I didn't manage my money, I store blah, 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 all these things that you'll give the evidences why. But what if you change the question to, how could I receive even more by adding so much value that I can gratefully receive all of God's abundance?
Yeah, just even asking the question, how can I receive more? I mean, that's how can I, if I wanted to receive more, how could I receive more? And because I believe that there's a hose of well-being that's raining down on everybody. But the only reason we don't have it is there's a kink. Rumi said this, the beautiful poet. He said, your task, love, I could put here. And that's really a top one for a lot of people is I want to feel love, right?
That's why they think the money's going to provide.
Right, sure, of course. And so if I say, I've got, love, there's not enough to go around love and it's hard to find and, it's not that many good ones around and all these different things instead of
looking for love in all the wrong places.
Rumi, the beautiful poet said, and I believe this as all my years in matchmaking, all my years in the dating industry, is that your task is not to seek for love. It's simply to remove the barriers you have built against it. And that is true in life, that there's a hose of well-being that's flooding to you all the time. And what you do is you put a kink in it with your language. I don't deserve it. I have to earn it. I'm not good enough for that yet. Right? That's the language.
And sometimes it doesn't come out as deep as that. When you start unpacking, then that's what you're really saying, but it shows up like, that's going to be a lot of work, or you know what, it used to be okay, but the market's too difficult. The economy is struggling right now, and we come up with other little stories that rationalize because we don't want to admit that really it's our responsibility that we've been cutting it off. Mm-hmm. Like as an example, because we talk about the 3 pillars, like at the end of the day, like the 3 pillars, state, strategy, and story. This legacy is the story that you leave behind. And I'm kind of skipping ahead, but I just want to show you how this all works out. So someone may tell you when you say, what's the matter? And they say, oh, I'm depressed, right? And then what do they tell you? They tell you, we go, why? What's going on? And then they tell you a story. They say, well, my dog bit me, my cat ran away, my car's not fixed, blah, blah, blah. But that's not why they're depressed. Why they're depressed is, they're focusing, what they wouldn't say is, well, because I'm focusing on all the problems that I've got in my life, and I'm asking crappy questions. I don't feel good enough about myself. Yeah, I don't, well, no, I mean, that's still story. I'm just saying, what they're not saying is, I'm focusing on the problems, I'm asking crappy questions, and I'm carrying my body, I'm letting my body be in low energy, I'm not breathing, I'm moving slowly, and that's not why they're telling you they're depressed, but that's why they're depressed, because of they're not using all of their tools available. And then the last piece why this is so important is that in life, nothing has any meaning except the meaning you give it. So a thing happens, like Heidi shared, like let's say that your love is the thing you're looking for. Somebody breaks up with you. So what state does that put you in? Well, you're focusing on all the pain, you're telling a story, you're letting the language out, they ripped the heart out of me, you're feeling that all in your body.
Always happens.
It always happens.
Everyone
right. You start creating generalized belief systems about it. And then the meaning you give relationships, that experience, and so forth, and yourself is one of, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, and there's my evidence to prove why, because it's available. Yet at the same time, the meaning you could give it as well is, wow, finally they set me free to be able to find the love that will accept and love me for exactly who I am. That was, you know, that was a mirror reflection back to how I was feeling about myself. And this is a wonderful opportunity to find the absolute perfect relationship, someone that I can be fully self-expressed in. But either way, it will be your experience based on the state you're in when you give that meaning.
So when you come to be with us, we're going to spend some time figuring out what are the feelings that you're committed to, and what feelings have you been committed to? What emotions have you been committed to on a consistent basis? And how can you now unpack that and say, okay, what's a new strategy for the new year? You know, how am I going to behave a little bit differently? What am I really committed to feeling? Because we're going to do a lot of creating, but really it is, how do you want to be? Not what you want to do. How do you want to be? Right? And that is such a powerful distinction.
Not about what you do, it's who's doing it. And then who's doing it will dictate how well that person does it. Who's doing it comes first.
All right. I think that's really good. E5.
Now, it's also energy, right? This is all energy. Money is just energy. Love is just energy. Everything we do is all about the energy, right? So energy in motion, or energy plus motion, is emotion. So it gets back to the physiology. So your homework is going to be, what are some strategies that you've been running in your physiology, your focus, and your language? What are some habitual patterns that you've had? And those are the things that have been holding you back to the next level. Wherever you are right now has been a direct result of the way you've been running these patterns. Where you want to go is going to be, once we start designing this legacy, then you'll start to unpack, what is the things I need to focus on? What is the language habitually I need to be running? And then what sort of physiology? What should I be doing with my body? What meanings can I give these experiences? Like right now, by the way, I'll just leave you with this. Whether or not you even agree with this, you're using it. Like if right now you're watching this and going, this is a load of malarkey. Well, if you're using it in order to do that, you are going, all right, you're focusing on how this doesn't work for you. You're asking the question, you know, you're using language.
How are they full of shit?
How are they full of crap, right? Or you're going, oh, interesting shirt. And then your physiology is probably tight and one of like, oh, this is a load of crap. And then the meaning you're giving it is that.
But if you're watching this, you don't think that, because
if you've gotten this far, you haven't. But I'm just wanting to prove to you the antithesis. When you see other people not doing it, not getting on, you can see how they're using it to their disadvantage. I mean, we never do that, but meaning you and I and everybody watching this. But there are people who do, of course. So with that being said, anything to add?
No, that's perfect.
We love you for who you are and who you aren't. And for those of you who are going to be at the Recovery Reboot, we love to serve you. For those of you who haven't yet joined any of our experiences,
sign up.
Here's an opportunity. If you haven't
signed up yet, sign up. Go to irocksobriety.com and sign up.
Yeah.
It's time to take your life to the next level.
And if this is still up, there's probably going to be another event coming up. So, if you want to come play with us, please stay in touch. All right. We love you for who you are and who you aren't. Bye-bye.